Hey guys, DDHL content. Just gonna wanted to share my thoughts as we head into the deadline and into the playoffs. And I know Mike Gass appreciates them, so here we go. This is what Dan posted in one of our chats about the trade deadline, and I just want to say we're in the scenario where we've got the four top teams were decided pretty much already, and even when we look at the trade block, it's really hard to see. For example, when we look at Jake's team, where all of his forwards have at least like his worst forward starting forward right now is 42 points in Claude Giroux, who just got traded to Florida. I mean, you're going to be hard pressed, and a lot of teams are like that at the top to find something that they're going to want, especially when you're going to, this is a pet peeve, post like infinite guys. A lot of them basically worthless. Like no playoff team's going to want some of these guys. That's just the truth. I'm not going to talk down on anyone specific because that's not fair. But I will talk up someone for my co-host, another Blackberry in Bjorkstrand. I think he's intriguing, Mr. Bjorkstrand. He's like you would think, 48 points, 26-year-old, young potential that Derek might keep him, but the only knock on him for people competing this year would be his negative 21. But if you look into, let's say, standings by plus minus, it's like maybe the good looking guys could take him for an increase in goals, assists, or STP if they need it, or Rock Stallion is last in plus minus anyway, so might be a potential option. So just talking him up for you, Derek. Now the thing about so overall I don't expect much from the trade deadline. Our trade deadline, we're going to see a bunch of picks. And this year, since Gabi's not in it, like big spenders like Gabi and myself aren't really looking to spend too much, because we sort of like in previous years, I think we've like sort of set the market to like first, second, third being like super tradable. I just see like maybe fifth rounders to seventh rounders being traded for minor upgrades. Like really, even if I have Landeskog and Stone out, like I'd rather keep them than for an upgrade. Like for upgrades that I don't really see as upgrades. Like I'm not going to increase my team's chance of winning by like 1%. I'd rather keep Landeskog and Stone for next year to be able to make another run. And so before we move to the playoffs, I did want to talk about how, our perception of how well or how good a team might do might be skewed by the playoff standings right now. Because here's what I mean. I've talked about it maybe on a podcast where doing well, having a balanced team where you're competitive in every category will give you better results in the regular season. So I designed my team to be competitive every offensive category. So if you sort of stumble on goalie, I can win 8-2, 9-1. But then when it comes to playoff time, the being able to 9-1 someone or 8-2 becomes less valuable. And that's why in previous year we call it the Dan strategy, where you just win goalies a few categories. That, although it's going to finish middle of the pack during the regular season, I hope it makes sense why it's actually dangerous in the playoffs, where you it doesn't matter. You don't care about winning 9-1 if you design your team to reasonably win 5-4, 6-4. You're going to take it. You're going to take it, and that might explain why Gabi has been was really good last year, where we didn't think, we underestimated him, but come playoff time, he has the best goalie in the playoffs, and then he can win those three goalie categories, sets him up to just win two more categories to be competitive. And I think we have that again, where we might underlook the Rock Stallions. It looks like they're going to make it in, but if they make it in, they have the best goalie in the league. And sure, during the regular season, they might not do well because their offense is blah or whatever. But come playoff time, all they need is a little help to just sort of advance 5-4 everyone and then win the championship. It's not outside the realm of possibility. And I know with my podcast with the Derricks, we seem to talk about how maybe goalies are okay. Like that's the conclusion the two other Derricks seem to be leaning towards. I don't have that same feeling. I still think it's a open discussion. Should goalies despite having one of the worst offense in the league, should having like the best goalie tandem be enough to put you in the middle of the pack, right? Versus, let's say we go back to, it's sad for me. Like Tonan's been really active, and like just because he has average offense, but because he couldn't find a goalie, he's got one of the worst records in the DDHL. So it's like, should bad offense management but having good goalies like allow you to compete, whereas having decent offense and shit goaltending not allow you to compete at all? I mean, hard to say. Like I stand with Dan where we want in general, even for the shittiest team, to feel like they could be competitive on some level. Not that your team's actually shit there. Right? Like I told you, I think you have a lot of potential for next year. So just to be clear. So on to, I looked at how the six playoff teams, because it looks like it's going to be these six. Maybe Gabi and Mike can still make it interesting with 2 weeks to go. It is possible, but looked at the six teams to see how they were doing this year, and all positive results. And again, strength of schedule matters. Like I, the barrage might have played like a lot of the bad playoff teams in this year, so it's important not to be too influenced by this. But this is probably more predictive than, let's say, like I said, like it's easy to look at these standings and be like, oh, the top four are obviously crushing. And then so that's why I did what if the top six played each other since the beginning of this year, what the records would look like. And you could see a huge difference. So the Jedi, so John, for always complaining, actually has a reason to feel like he is not competitive, because I guess his goalies, his lack of goalies, would have gotten him crushed against the other five teams. But you can see the top three teams are pretty close. And Rock Stallion, again, having that strong goaltending allows you to be close to that 500 team. So he's someone that I do not want to face in the playoffs. He's someone I would like to actively avoid. I don't want to get Igored. And yeah, that's it, I think. Is there anything I want to add besides that? No, but besides that, it looks like the top three are the faves. The Rock Stallions are a key wild card. And if John wants to compete, he really needs to figure out his goalies.